behind the scenes here at Baltimore's Camden Yards in the press box. We thought we'd visit with some of the reporters like Roch Kubatko from masnsports.com, School of Rock. Roch, let's talk a little bit about the Yankees, and they're in town tonight, obviously, the challenge for the Yankees in the American League East.
I thought we were talking about the new concession items, but I guess we could do the Yankees too. This team is going to be a factor, I think, in the division. Remember, they were sellers last year. Then all of a sudden they started playing really well. Joe Girardi might have done his best managing job. The older guys are gone. A-Rod's gone now. Beltran's not here. Teixeira's gone. But they've got this infusion of young talent. Gary Sanchez, Greg Bird, Aaron Judge, to go along with the other veteran pieces here. So I think the lineup's going to be very good. Back end of the bullpen, we know how formidable that is. Betances, Chapman is back, unfortunately, for the Orioles. So I think they really are going to be a factor. It's going to come down to the rotation, just like it does for a lot of teams, including the Orioles. A full season healthy at Tanaka. What do you get? Does CC Sabathia have anything left in the tank? I have my doubts. We'll see. But I just think that infusion of youth in the lineup, they've got some really good young players, plus the veterans like Gardner being back. Headley, whatever. I think they're going to be a really good team. I don't think they're better than the Red Sox, but I think they're going to be better than they were last year. That's going to be a problem in what's already the toughest division in baseball.
Yeah, the Yankees and the Orioles are the only two teams since 12 that do not have a losing season in the American League.
I'm going to use that. Thank you. Can you say that slower? Yes, it is.
Roch Kubatko from masnsports.com, School of Rock. We're going to be joined now by Brittany Ghiroli, who's with MLB.com. Brittany, let's talk a little bit about the Toronto Blue Jays and your thoughts on that.
Well, I think manager Buck Showalter put it well when they left town. He said they're going to beat up on somebody else. I think the Orioles got really lucky timing, able to take those first two games of the season. You look at the Blue Jays' rotation, and there's no question they're one of the strongest clubs in baseball. You can make a case for really the top two or three teams. Toronto's rotation is right up there, and especially with Aaron Sanchez. Last year, they kind of held him with kid gloves. He was on the innings limit. They shouldn't really have any of those issues this year. So J.A. Happ's been one of the better pitchers in baseball for the last couple of years, and defensively, they've really upgraded a lot. And obviously, they lost a big bat in Edwin Encarnacion, but you still look, they've got a lot of those sluggers that are still back here, and they're such a good team, particularly in Toronto, and that's what makes them so tough. So they're going to be a tough opponent for the Orioles all last year. You saw how evenly matched they were, 9-10, 10-9, something like that. And I think it's going to be the same thing again this year. They're going to be a really tough team, and health permitting, they're not going to go away.
Is there anything you took away from the two-game sweep by the Orioles?
That the Orioles are going to be a better team than I think people envisioned. I think they're a little bit more well-rounded, and they've got a better bench than they did last year. They can win those close games that maybe they couldn't last year.
Brittany Ghiroli's on MLB.com covering the Orioles on a daily basis, and back here, Baltimore Baseball.com, Dan Connolly. Dan, let's talk a little bit about the Red Sox and Tampa Bay. Your thoughts on the challenge for both of them?
We'll start with the Red Sox. I mean, they are the best team in the division. They're the reigning champs, and I think they're going to be that way. I think a lot of people talked about, David Ortiz retiring, acquiring Chris Sale. But Tom, for me, the best thing about the Boston Red Sox is that outfield. They have a 24-year-old right fielder, Mookie Betts, who is a Gold Glover, who is an MVP type candidate. And then Jackie Bradley Jr. is a real good player, center field. He's kind of coming into his own. He hit 26 home runs last year. And then left field is Andrew Benintendi, who everybody's got as a Rookie of the Year. He's only 22, so it's 22, 24, and 26. And all three of them are really good players. They could be one of the best outfields for years to come.
How about the loss of Ortiz, though, to their line?
Yeah, I think that means something, and I think they have to have a Benintendi and a guy like that step up. But Ortiz was a big presence, but they still have Dustin Pedroia, who's also the kind of guy who's a leader as well. So we're going to see what happens if they can make sure that they can do something offensively with Ortiz not there.
Now, everybody likes Tampa Bay every year, it seems like.
They just don't have the offense for me, and that's the thing. But that pitching staff is excellent. And Chris Archer, he lost 19 games last year with a 4.02 ERA. So he's the guy. He doesn't get a lot of run support, but he's a really good pitcher, over 200 strikeouts 2 years in a row. And then there's some other guys there. Jake Odorizzi is a good pitcher. They have Blake Snell, a young guy. Alex Cobb's coming back from injury. De Leon is the guy they traded for. So their pitching staff is going to be good every year, and it's a good place to pitch in Tampa at Trop. So they're going to be in it, or at least be considered being in it, Tom, because let's face it, they have good pitching.
They cover the Orioles on a daily basis. They're here in the press box before each game. We're talking about Dan Connolly, BaltimoreBaseball.com, Brittany Ghiroli from MLB.com, and Roch Kubatko from masnsports.com, School of Rock.